Getting buried in your work is common, but in some cases, you have to actually bury the case just to keep working. Hello and welcome. Thank you for spending some of your time with me and my gang of nine today. My name is Raymond Schaff, and I'm the author of Confessions of a Level 9 Nerd. You can buy a copy online at Amazon.com right after watching this video. Once you finish reading the book, instant message your favorite chapter to a close friend of yours. 1 paragraph per hour. I guarantee you they will never forget it. You can verify your personal nerd level near the end of this video, as you will see all the requirements for being a level 1 through level 9 nerd pop up for your viewing pleasure. Now take a moment and gaze out any nearby window and enjoy today's weather. Then sit back, get comfortable, and join us as we dig into Chapter 8, The Case of the Buried Case. Way back in the beginning of corporate computing, mountains of computer listings riddled with useless and sometimes useful statistics filled corporate offices. Green bar fan-folded paper reports replaced green-shaded accountants in a world where the higher the stacks of printout on your desks, the more important you became to the company. It was a time when size did matter. The furniture chain that employed me as a mainframe computer operator looked upon all mainframe computer-generated reports as corporate gospel. The merchandise report, widely viewed as the most important of all computer-generated reports, contained every conceivable set of sensitive numbers related to the ongoing operations of the corporation. Tuesday mornings, just prior to the sun making its first appearance, the ritual began where I would execute a series of mainframe computer programs that combed through myriads of corporate data, culminating in the creation of the 1,000 plus page merchandise report. The report gobbled up an entire case of one-part brilliant white computer paper custom designed specifically for this report. Our high-speed line printer branded each sheet with all the numbers behind the numbers. Working solo on the graveyard shift allowed me to privately examine the print quality of the encompassing merchandise report the moment it finished printing. Using my handmade viewing template, I visually scanned the report's content, including line item inventories, product valuations, P&L statements, ratio analyses, and marketing projections to verify that everything looked good for the report prior to delivery to the corporate mucky mucks. I always knew how things were going for the corporation based on my gut feeling and the fact that I had unobstructed access to their most private numbers. One random Tuesday morning, while working alone on the graveyard shift, I accidentally printed the merchandise report on 4-part green bar fan-folded paper instead of the custom 1-part bright white required for the print run. My youth prevented me from owning up to the mistake, resulting in a personal decision to eliminate any evidence of my guilt. As the computer room's wall clock yawned out the arrival of 5 a.m., I boxed up the misprinted 4-part merchandising report and carted it out the building and into the employees' parking lot. Cold morning breezes swirled around me, keeping my head and face cool as I lifted the hood of my tiny Volkswagen Beetle and pitched the report into its small front storage area. My angst spiked when I realized the complete merchandise report was too tall to fit in the shallow front trunk in one piece. I ripped the report into thick slabs of paper, carpeting the Volkswagen's trunk, a smidge beyond its normal capacity. Unable to lock the lid down on the first try, I coaxed the stubborn internal latching mechanism into submission by sitting on the hood for a few moments to squash down the dismembered report. Upon returning to the computer room, I pulled out the mainframe's console log sheet that detailed the first successful run of the merchandise report earlier that morning and shredded it in our paper shredding machine. I digitally erased any data inside the mainframe that referenced the report before resetting the computer system's clock back 45 minutes. I reran the program and printed the merchandise report a second time correctly, then adjusted the computer's time back to normal. My hours of poring over the company's IBM System 360 technical manuals paid off, as I was able to manipulate the computer system's clock and logging records to make it look like there were no anomalies in processing during my graveyard shift. To my immense relief, no questions arose about the merchandise report during the early morning turnover. On the drive home, I took silent pleasure in the steady steering control I exercised over the Volkswagen as it carried the full weight of the merchandise report in its tiny front trunk. I pulled into my garage feeling like a common criminal, ever mindful of the dismembered report packed under the hood. I hopped out, grabbed the shovel hanging in my garage wall, and then headed to the backyard. A damp area behind our in-ground fish pond made for easy digging. I fashioned a hole so far down that no part of the merchandise report would resurface and claim my job. Once satisfied with the size and depth of the hole, I raced back into my garage, robbed the Volkswagen of its weighty cargo, and then pitched the purloined pieces into the fresh grave. I smoothed over the last shovelful of dirt, turning the merchandise report into an unmarked landfill. About the same time, my wife came out of the house and walked up to me asking what I had been doing with the shovel so early in the morning. I stammered once and then stumbled through, I thought the fish pond's water pump might have a leak in it, and I needed to check to see if the main feeder pipe had a below-ground crack. She looked over the area I had covered up, pausing for a moment before uttering, "Printed it on the wrong paper again, didn't you?" I moved away from that home decades ago, and to this day wonder if any of the 3 different merchandise reports I buried ever dissolved. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Here is a great tip for those of you who want to bring beauty and grace to your photographs and drawings. Straight lines are fine, but to infuse your photographs and drawings with a relaxing composition and warmth, look for patterns that emphasize an S shape. You can find S shapes everywhere. Take a little time to discover them before you commit to a photo or drawing. S shapes immediately send out messages of calmness and control. The slower the bend of the S in your image creations, the greater the effect of harmony and peace. This image takes on a warm glow when splashed with rich fall colors, while relaxing you with its multiple S curves. Now isn't that a nice tip from your friendly Level 9 nerd? And now it's time to open my wall safe for a safe, off-the-wall story about payback. Donna was the absolute best boss I ever had. She hired me while managing the first push of office automation computing technologies throughout a very large county government. She was stupid smart and had a great sense of humor. One hot summer day, she was driving me downtown to a work site to install some office computing equipment for the court's adult probation department. Traffic was slow as we came to a stop at a busy intersection in the heart of the city. Her car windows were rolled down, and we waited for traffic lights to change. A pickup truck pulled up along the right side of us, signaling to make a right turn. It was then that I noticed his driver's side window was open as well. The moment the red light turned green, and without thinking, as usual, I threw myself up against the passenger door of her car loud enough for the pickup truck driver next to us to take notice. I violently ratcheted my head towards my boss, Donna, and yelled, "Don't you ever touch me there again!" Donna looked at me like someone tossed a bucket of ice water on her head, while at the same moment the pickup truck driver looked at me and simultaneously drove over the right corner of the curb of the sidewalk. Well, Donna is the kind of person that would not let something like that go unanswered. So later that afternoon, we were wrapping up our computing installation job for the adult probation department high up in the criminal justice courthouse building. We were about to catch the next elevator down to the parking garage when, without warning, Donna wedged herself into a crowded elevator while at the same time leaving me stranded outside the elevator. Her timing was flawless as she yelled at me, "Don't call me the next time you need to get bailed out of jail." At the same moment, the elevator doors shut, leaving me no time to respond. All I could do was watch the shocked looks on the faces of the adults in the elevator as the doors closed me out of the one-way conversation. I turned around to take a seat as the building elevators were notoriously slow and noticed all probationers waiting in line in the adjacent adult probation lobby were laughing at me, telling me to stay out of trouble and I wouldn't have to deal with her again. Like everything else, the cutting blade of humor cuts both ways. Getting buried is common, provided you are dead. Cut! The merchandise report gobbled up an entire case of brilliant white computers, which was a shock to me as I didn't think paper could eat computers. Cut! I smothered over the last shovelful of dirt and ran out of battery power? Is my battery